Hey, and when I say these evil homosexuals need, I need, I wish they get out of the service industry, and that goes for cops as well. Like their literal job is to serve. They're a literal servant of the public, literally. So I don't understand how I'm in the library. I have a simple question for another man. I wasn't talking to the officer that was just so happened to be standing in the library when I asked a man a question. Um, I part ways from the man that asked the question. He didn't feel no type of way or anything. Then he's like, "Oh, officer, hey, let me talk to you." I let him know, "Hey, I'm not here to talk. I'm here to read." And he says, "Oh, you don't have a choice." I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" So then he tells me to leave the library, and I'm like, "For what?" So I get asked to leave the library, and he pull his taser and shit out on me. Like, it's a black cop down here in Atlanta. He pull his taser and shit out on me, and he like, "Oh, you can leave." So he like, so are you refusing to leave?" And I'm like, "You know what? Like, all of that shit was uncalled for. You just forced it. You just did all of that for no reason. Uh, Call your supervisor up here. I wanna speak with your supervisor." He refuses to call his supervisor. And then he like, "So aren't you gonna leave?" I said, "Yeah, when your supervisor get here, I'll leave." So he arrests me for criminal trespass and disorderly conduct because he refused to call his supervisor. And then after he placed me in handcuffs, then he called his supervisor after the fact when literally he could have called his supervisor and I could have waited across the street until he got there, but he just refused to call him. He said, "No, I'm not calling him." After I simply asked him, "I want to speak to your supervisor." You operate under a chain of command, you answer to somebody, and your conduct is unacceptable. So I want to speak to your superior. And he refuses to call that person for me to speak to them. So, uh, dude ended up arresting me and shit and giving me tickets for it. But it's like, if you don't want to serve the public, why did you become a fucking cop? If you don't want to serve people, why did you become a cop? I don't give a fuck about your cop ass. But I'm just saying, you entered into an agreement as a service industry employee once you decided to become a cop. I said what I said. Sauce Lord shit.